Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. Good to be in the captain's seat again, and thanks to Jeff Ventura for filling in. We're going to go outside, softball, lacrosse, and believe it or not, even talk a little football. But first up, Lindsay Abbott, women's lacrosse coach, and Lindsay's bringing along Alana Hearn, the sophomore attacker from Tonawanda. And then softball takes the stage. Marie Curran, head coach, bringing along Stephanie Novo, the senior infielder from Cheektowaga and Depew High. And then the boss, Jerry Boyce, joins us to talk about facility upgrades here in athletics, and also we'll chit-chat about football because they're in the non-traditional season. We'll also have Becky Coleman with the Bengal update and the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. So a lot to catch up on. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to talk lacrosse. You know, sometimes you got to watch what you say when the athletic director is in the live studio audience here, you know what I'm saying? But we're having fun off camera. We're joined by women's lacrosse now, and Lindsay Abbott, the head coach of the Bengals, and Alana Hearn, the sophomore attacker. I love that attacker word. That's fantastic. A little bit of an up and down early season. Just came back from Florida. Had a few games down there. What have you learned about this team so far after 8 games?
Well, I think we definitely have a lot of potential. We've come a long way. We've played a couple ranked teams, top 20 teams. We've also played a team in the NESCAC who is constantly playing top 20 teams. And we stayed with them for the first half, and unfortunately we didn't show up in the second half, which is something that we definitely need to try and do, is make sure that we're playing the full 60 minutes. Okay,
let me follow up on that. So you go as coach, what are you learning about your team? Be more specific about that. So they didn't show up or whatever.
Right.
What has to happen to move forward then in your eyes?
I think the biggest thing is practicing how you play. Pushing that practice all the way to the highest level. And I think we've talked about that a lot, and it's been a huge emphasis in practice, is practice how you play. You know, we have to make sure that we're going hard all the time in order to show up in the games like that.
And what do you like most about this team right now?
Well, I think the connectedness together, they are together all the time. So they have that chemistry, and now we just got to finish that connectedness on the field.
She's nodding her head. Yes, we're always together.
Always.
Alana, you have you're putting up some very interesting numbers early. You're only a sophomore, 27 goals already. Does any of this kind of surprise you, considering you're only a sophomore?
I mean, I know my role on the team, but just trying to meet coach's expectations.
And her role is to score.
That's right.
So and we talked about off camera, the single season record for goals is 105, and it's not too early to talk about something like this?
Not with her.
That's kind of heady stuff, you know, that could happen as a sophomore. Do you think about that, and does it affect you at all?
It's always something to push towards, but I just try to focus on specific right now.
Yeah. You are, your heritage is Native American. You're specifically through your father.
Yeah.
Met mom in Buffalo. It's really in the blood of a Native American, isn't it, lacrosse? Can you tell me a little bit about growing up and what lacrosse meant to you?
It was just kind of natural, just always in my hands, playing catch with Dad, and we have our own backstop at home. Play catch with each other. We have corners in our nets, so it's pretty much our own lacrosse stuff back there.
Yeah, absolutely. Her strengths are where? Without giving a scouting report to all the teams that are watching, I'm sure.
Her stick skills, absolutely. She is dominant left-handed, which, you know, every time I talk to a coach, they're always telling me, that you got that left-handed attacker.
Okay, let's stop there. For the viewers and for the novices like me, left-hand dominant. Okay, so I throw right-handed. Are you saying she shoots this way? What does that mean?
All left-handed, so she has a stick in her left hand all the time, where most of us have it in our right hand. So she's, coming around that left side where the other attackers are usually coming around the right side of the crease. So she's coming around the left side, and it's a huge different look for the goalkeepers, and I think that's why she's been so dominant and so strong on that side.
Do you throw a baseball right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Wow, so that is unusual in lacrosse and probably just in general speaking.
Absolutely, to be so strong with it, yeah.
And how do you utilize that to your advantage? Are you thinking that, or are there plays and strategies that you can use?
Well, I always use my left hand, so defense try to push me towards my right, and I just, I don't. So I think it's more mental, too.
Did you, and was this something that was developed, or you said you've had a stick in your hand since way back when?
Yeah.
I mean, were you always left-handed then?
Always.
In lacrosse?
Yeah, I used to play, I still play box lacrosse, but it wasn't forced right-handed. Like, now I have to play with both, but I was never forced to play with my right hand.
Oh my gosh, that's very interesting. So we're talking about her strengths. The left hand. What else is she really good at?
Well, I think her competitiveness. She's been face guarded, so having someone on her constantly. Same thing with basketball. When you have someone just right on top of you who doesn't slide off of you, who doesn't look at another defender, doesn't slide help or anything. She's had plenty of face guards on her, and she's still putting up 4 goals for our team.
So in my terms, a face guard is, in basketball, a box in one zone.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody is always going to be on her.
Yep.
Let me go back to your last answer. What is box lacrosse?
It's
and why is she laughing?
It's like the Buffalo Bandits.
Oh, okay. So it's basically arena lacrosse.
Indoor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you still play that?
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. So we've talked about her strengths, and now she's only a sophomore, so you're not great yet, but you're pretty darn good. So what is she working on? What do you want? Where do you see her working over the next couple of years?
I did mention how she's always on that left side of the crease and everything, and I'd love to try and get her to be a little more diverse and maybe come around the top a little bit more, or come around the right side of the crease as well. So just trying to possibly work on that weekend as well, but still obviously using that dominant hand.
Gotcha. Well, ladies, best of luck to you. A game coming up on Saturday here at Coyer Field against Potsdam, 1 o'clock. That's Saturday, April 2nd. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, staying outside, we're going to talk softball. Stay with us. Well, congratulations are going out to this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week, and it's Chrissy Renard of softball, the senior health and wellness major. She hit .500 during a 12-game stretch in Florida, going 15 for 30 with 7 doubles and 11 runs batted in. Chrissy also drew 6 walks on way to an on-base percentage of .595. And if that wasn't enough, she also scored 10 runs as the Bengals went 6-6 for the week. Renard is hitting .468 for the season. She has 9 doubles and 15 RBI. She has at least 1 hit in 12 of the Bengals' 16 games, including 7 multi-hit games. So I got to get my breath. Congratulations to Chrissy Renard, this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week from softball. And gosh, here we are with the softball coach. What a great transition. Marie Curran joins us. Welcome, Marie. And she has Stephanie Novo, the senior infielder from Cheektowaga and Depew High, I believe. Okay, I want to make sure we know that. Very much like we asked Lindsay, you were down for an extensive stay in Florida, but a lot of games, 12 games, which is fabulous. You got them all in, beautiful weather. You got a little sun there, by the way. That's all right. We won't hold you against it. What did you learn about your team in those 12 games?
I learned they worked really hard in the gym, and it paid off.
Wow, great.
We went down to Virginia and came back and talked to the team that we weren't ready offensively, but we knew we weren't going to be. We had no offensive expectations at the Virginia tournament. So for 2 weeks, we spent time hitting, and we think we did a pretty good job.
You know, it's interesting. You kind of came into my office yesterday, and I thought you were just going to be on top of the world, and I was ready for this wonderful assessment. And you sat down, and you kind of looked at me, kind of low key. I mean, you were pounding the ball pretty good down in Florida, but you weren't too high about the success. How come?
Because right now our record's 0-0. We start SUNY X this weekend, and so
the real season.
Yeah. everything before it, our preseason was great. We learned a lot about our team. We got better every day. So those things were important, but what matters the most for us is winning the SUNYACs.
Absolutely. So. You have played a lot of softball here, young lady, and you've seen teams come and go. How does this team stack up now that you have that many games under your belt?
We actually talked about yesterday that I think
Really?
this is the best team I've had since I've been here, in the 4 years I've been here. I definitely don't think hitting any other team is comparable to what we've accomplished so far, and I don't see it really going on a decline either. I think it'll stay that high. So I think the sky's the limit for this team.
Wow,
This
that new batting cage is really paying off, huh, Coach?
Yeah, it is.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's an inside joke, everybody. Anyways, Steph, you were named one of the 50 players in the entire country, and that includes about 250 teams, to be identified as a possible National Player of the Year in Division III. And first of all, it's great that a Buffalo State student athlete, we have that awareness now nationally. I think it's wonderful. I'm wondering how you felt when you heard about that. What were your reactions to that news?
I think that we are on the same page with that. You think I can accomplish something like that, but I think it helped confidence-wise knowing that other coaches or other teams think that I can play on that level. So I think that it was nice to kind of get that compliment on even my first 3 years here, that
Sure.
they are recognizing that, but I also didn't want to look too much into it to as we were, because it's before the season kind of thing. And
Sure.
So.
Yeah, it was a preseason poll. And with that kind of notoriety comes a lot of pressure. Your teammates look at you. You may look at yourself differently. I'm not sure, but how do you deal with that added pressure of being the one out there? Oh yeah, she's the one right there. Is it difficult? Have you dealt with it so far? And is it a little weight on your shoulders?
Yeah, I think I actually, it's funny because I think something like that doesn't even put as much pressure on myself as I do. I think I'm the one who actually puts the most pressure on myself. And I think I dealt with it a little in the beginning of Florida. I definitely had a slower start, and we would talk that she would say, you're just trying too hard at this point. And I think I got to a point where I stopped doing that and kind of put everything out of my mind, realized that this is the last time I'm going to play and to have fun. And I started doing better then. So I think I've kind of dealt with that, and it's
great.
Hopefully
it's in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun. It's fun, and you are a senior. I don't mean to sound like a lecturer, but gosh, it's so much being out there in the sun and having fun in softball. Can you tell? I wish I was out there. I want to bring up one game down in Florida, and she's taking this deep breath. She knows what's coming. You took on Tufts, 22 in the country.
Yep.
And I know yesterday you were in the office going, and I could tell you wanted to win that game. And you were winning 2-1 come the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got away.
Yeah.
But what do you learn from a game like that as a coach? And then I'll ask you the same question as a student athlete.
What I learned is we needed to think more about how we finish our games. And luckily, it wasn't just Tufts that it happened. We were able to identify that in a few games of the intensity we play at when we're winning, of not taking it for granted. But it was a great to be able to really talk to the girls and actually really get on them. And we did. We got on them bad that game about how, you scored, you went up, you did all the right things, and then you came out and could have and should have beat a nationally ranked team, and you lost 3 innings, which lost us the game.
Right.
We won the first 4, but we lost the last 3. And we talked about with the girls all year is you have to win every inning one by one.
Sure.
We don't think about inning number 7 when we're in the first inning. We need to think about winning the first one.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, it's a 7-inning game, no question about that. And from your perspective, the senior, that game, what did the ladies take away from that game?
I think I agree with Coach that I think the energy level that we see in the beginning of games isn't always the same as at the end of games. And I mean, that's from everyone. That's me too, with sometimes we get tired, but it's kind of more of like a mentality thing to be able to push through in those situations. So I think if we can keep our energy level high all the time and in that kind of attack mode, I don't know if we get kind of laid back too once we get up by a lot. If we keep attacking every inning, I think that we'll be really successful.
You know, I want to go off the field for a little bit and mention to our viewers that you're a senior. You already have your undergraduate degree. Congratulations on that. As Jerry will soon talk about our student athletes and how good they do in the classroom. But you're pursuing your master's program right now too. Tell us a little bit about what the major is, what the area is, and what your professional goals are.
My master's program is in students with disabilities 7 through 12.
Wow.
So it's really kind of just a technical name for special ed, high school special ed. But
Okay.
I mean, so then I have my undergrad in English education, and then I'll have the special education degree. Obviously, I want to be teach in a high school. Whether it's English or special ed right now, I think my first preference would be English.
Okay.
But obviously, with both degrees, I'd be willing to do whatever. So
Fantastic.
just to get hired somewhere for
That's
teaching.
right. We just want a job right now. Well, Stephanie, you make us all proud, and you represent Buffalo State very well. Congratulations both on and off the field. And good luck this weekend. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for Mother Nature that we have some home games here Friday and Saturday, but we'll find that out as we go down the road. Thank you so much for being on the show. We are going to take a quick break, but before we do, I want to talk about the Bengal Club Golf Classic, which is quickly coming up. It's on July 11th, Monday at Briarwood Country Club. If you're interested in playing, all monies go to support student athletes like Steph and her programs. Give me a call at 878-6514 or visit our website as you see on the screen. Again, it's the 32nd annual, I believe, Bengal Club Golf Classic at the Briarwood Country Club. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Jerry Boyce is going to join us. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Bengal Update, sponsored by Hero Certified Burgers, located at 976 Elmwood Avenue in the beautiful Elmwood Village, just minutes from the Buffalo State campus. I'm Becky Coleman here with the recap of news and a look at the upcoming events surrounding Buffalo State athletics. Men's swimmer Connor Mergler capped off his sophomore campaign with 3 All-America honors. Mergler became Buffalo State's first swimming All-American in 40 years when he touched 6th in the 50 free on the first day of competition at the 2016 NCAA National Championships in Greensboro, North Carolina. The next day, he added a 16th place finish in the 200 free and then closed the competition with a 4th place finish in the 100 free, setting both school and SUNY records with a time of 44.30 seconds. Mergler is just the second Buffalo State swimmer to earn 3 individual All-America certificates in a single season. The first was John Meade in the 50 and 100 free, and then in the 100 fly in 1974. Softball returned from its annual spring training trip in Claremont, Florida with an overall record of 8-8. On the second day of the trip, the Bengals produced 43 hits in just 11 innings to take a 15-0 6-inning win over Milliken and a 19-6 win over Wisconsin-Platteville. Against Wisconsin-Platteville, Buffalo State secured the win with a whopping 18 runs on 2 outs in the 4th inning. The Bengals are hitting .362 and are led by senior third baseman Gene Stahl, whose current batting average is .483. 4 other Bengals are also hitting above .400. Senior left fielder Chrissy Renard was named both the Buffalo State Athlete of the Week and SUNY Softball Player of the Week after hitting .500 through 10 games last week with 7 doubles and 11 RBIs. The Bengals are scheduled to open up SUNY play with their first home doubleheader of the season on Friday, April 3rd at 3 p.m. against Potsdam. Women's lacrosse split 2 games on their spring training trip to Florida. The Bengals defeated Farmingdale 11-6 on the first day of competition, but fell 2 days later to Williams 16-8. Senior Sarah Lorusso led the Buffalo State offense in both games, finishing with 7 points against Farmingdale and 6 points against Williams. Sophomore Cassie St. Ville is currently leading the SUNY with 16 caused turnovers, averaging 2 per game. She is also second in the conference in ground balls per game with 3.13. Buffalo State will open up conference play with a 1 p.m. matchup against Potsdam on Saturday, April 2nd at home on Coyer Field. Reporting for Buffalo State Athletics, I'm Becky Coleman. Now back to you, Tom.
Thanks so much for that, Becky. And we're joined now by the boss, the athletics director here at Buffalo State, Jerry Boyce, and who's also going to serve 2 hats on the show. He's also the head football coach, so we'll chit-chat a little bit about football. But about a little update on how the year's going? We're moving into April. Your thoughts on the academic year and what our student athletes have accomplished so far?
Golly, Tom, I think we've had another very good year, both on our venues of play and in the classroom with our student athletes. We came off a few weeks ago and had our student athlete academic luncheon, where just under 50% of our student athletes who have been in attendance at Buffalo State for at least 3 semesters are above a 3.0.
That's an amazing stat.
And that's been a constant stat, basically.
Yep.
So we're extremely pleased on how our student athletes embrace that title, student athlete.
That's right.
And then on the fields and the pools and the tracks and ice, we've had a very good fall and winter season. Some more All-Americans that have come to the forefront, and 2 that are first time in a long time, and our first time in women's soccer, and our first All-American in 35 years
in swimming.
Swimming.
Correct.
So another good showing in the indoor national track meet. So,
that's right.
Geez, I'm delighted with what's going on and our staff and what they're providing for our student athletes.
Now, you have some good news that you shared to the staff at the last staff meeting. As you continue to look at facilities and upgrade, there is a process involved now, but it looks like there's going to be some upgrades first to Koller Field. I understand there may be a lighting issue happening there.
Yeah, right now it's still in the design process. Yep. But we will be adding lights to Koller Field, which is a great addition. Certainly will help out with our sports, primarily in the non-traditional part, when we have the traditional sports going right through most of the daylight. But it helps from a revenue standpoint and other opportunities for possible playoffs and things of that nature that come on our campus. So some real great benefits of adding lights.
Boy, that's going to be terrific. And in keeping with Koller, we have a 6-lane track right now, and that may change as well.
Yes, it may.
Let's hope so.
And we really do hope so. The plan is right now, and again, it's still early, so we are cautious as we speak too much about it, but because the current 6-lane track lanes are at maximum width, by moving them to the minimum width, we can fit an 8-lane track. So we're looking to upgrade the track, resurfacing that, adding a shot put area to it, redoing our long triple and pole vault as well. So those are things that are working, and we hope to see come to fruition.
We've got the fingers crossed. We have a minute left, and I want to ask you quickly the state of football, generally speaking. You're an All-American at Ithaca, longtime coach. It's kind of taken a hit a little bit with this concussion syndrome, et cetera, that is in the news. And the Ivies just went and said, we're not going to be tackling in practice, et cetera. I know it's a large subject, but in 45 seconds, your take on the state of football right now.
Well, I think the awareness is always good, and it creates coaches to make sure we're doing the right thing. And, the Ivy Leagues came out with this statement, but I kind of smile at that because during the course of a season, and that's from the first day of practices to the end, at Buffalo State, we have one 5-minute segment where we go live.
Yeah.
We don't do live tackling during the week. We play on Saturday. We don't play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're working on the techniques, tackling dummies and things of that nature to work the techniques of tackling, but we're not ever doing any live tackling.
No.
So it's interesting that they came out with that ruling in the Ivy Leagues, where I think most colleges have been practicing that for a long time. But what it has done is changed the philosophy and the technique of tackling. to make sure that we are not getting the head involved with it, which is a great thing. So it's changed the way of thinking a little bit, and quite frankly, tackling the old way.
Sure. Well, it's such a large subject with so much to cover, and definitely going to have you back for another show just to talk about that. But we thank you for coming and giving us a little update on facilities and where we stand in football. Thanks, Jerry.
Great, Tom.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bengal Magazine. Thanks to everybody here in Instructional Resources, and I will see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.